Good day, everybody. Tracy Brown here. I hope you're doing well. For those of you who haven't watched many of these live videos, and if you don't know a lot about me and you haven't read the description, I'm a somatic nutrition therapist and a dietitian and an intuitive eating and body image specialist, and been doing this for this is my 13th year, and I've kind of been in this game of recovery and dismantling diet culture stuff and how it definitely impacts all of us, as well as the pre-existing misattunements we've had of our life for 22 years now. So I had started this group because I just got a lot that I'd love to share and talk about. So, and of course I offer different really depth training programs for counseling skills and trauma integrated stuff. So anyway, my house is a little messy. I was out of town this week, so I didn't even take time to pick up my stuff, and my dog's honking, coughing. He's fine. Anyway, so that's my speedy introduction here. So what I want to bring up today, we had a really rich, I thought it was short, but it was a rich conversation around self-care yesterday, and it made me think, because nuance matters, and it's the game changer for our clients a lot of times to go deeper into things, because sometimes when we talk about self-care, a sheet, I literally in my non-diet counseling skills group, as well as my attuned eating for attuned living kind of guided self-study program, we spend a whole module on self-care. One version's for professionals, one's for clients. So I have sheets and I have lists and mark some things that would be helpful and really breaking it down, how would you get that in, how many times a week, what would that look like, alone, separate, really breaking all that down. And sometimes that's all your clients need, and it's a session or two conversation and a follow-up, and session conversation and some follow-up, and then following could begin in a couple of weeks. How's that going? Are we using it? And you'll know if they're using it or not based on their level of relief, right? But some of our clients, I just want to make sure that that some clients are going to really, when I say really, really struggle with something I call a nourishment barrier, which is they can't even take in the idea of self-care, and they think that rationally that sounds like a great idea, but one, they don't know what they need, and they circle around it and won't even let themselves land on what it is because it feels too guilt-ridden, too selfish, brings up so much shame for even having a need, a need to want to, sorry, my dryer. I did not prepare to do this video beforehand today. I just jumped on. So anyway, we're done. Some of our clients are going to have not only nourishment barriers, but are really going to have some compulsions around either running to be overproductive and achieve a lot, and even their leisure activities or their books. I mean, they're not going to read a book for fun. They're going to read books that either help them advance their career, their education, their business. That's going to be their what they think is relaxed time and self-care. And I'm not saying that that's not partially true, but there's always an agenda. There's always a push. There's always a pressure. So they don't get restoration because they don't know how to let that in without the guilt setting in, so they just avoid it. Or you're going to have your clients that just their self-care looks like self-care. I'll just give you an example. So I had a client who I think spent a lot of time in functional freeze. And for those of you who don't know much about the survival cycle that we go through, fight, flight, freeze, and please, I'm going to be talking a lot about that probably after, I'm going to do a whole series of videos on that late spring, early summer. So I know that's a little bit off, but I want you to have the education around that. And I'm going to do a big a webinar about it too, again this summer. But just a little quick thing is I'll have a client spend a lot of time in it looks like procrastination, but they're really pretty checked out, but they're doing what looks like self-care, reading lots of big thick novels, this thick, watching TV, maybe taking baths, maybe not. I'll just give you an example. I had a client that she called it fanfiction. I'd never heard that term before, but she basically would stay up for hours. She needed, what she needed to spend some of that time on is preparing some food for the next day to get her needs met. Even making sure that she didn't forget to brush her teeth or take a shower. But she would spend a lot of time really in this fantasy land of checking out with reading. So it wasn't like full-on dissociation, but it was a lot of like just checking out. And then would get really frustrated, like, oh, I kind of like didn't have that good of breakfast and lunch was kind of blah. What would happen? She would get in this cycle of like feeling like these things were really caring for herself as reading all night, but really it was procrastination and not feeling entitled to like really truly like get her needs met. And it looks on the outside like things are okay, but she's, I had to really help her stop calling herself lazy and the judgmental stuff, and really break it down to like, well, what is all the reading in service to? Are you fully present when you're reading, or is there some level of checking out? There's a difference between like, I'm reading this book for pleasure, but I'm aware of my surroundings and I know what the time is and I'm embodied, I'm in my body, versus here and up and out. And that's where she was spending her time. And then when she'd have to like do some things, so she could feel the anger and resentment building up, and she could feel like, not only because she wasn't getting her needs met with food, just simply by like having enough groceries in the house and taking time to do that. But the function of it was she was just really just putting off being in her reality of her daily life, which she didn't like. So long story short is sometimes when you're working with people for self-care, they need some retraining either in the basics of like honestly getting groceries. And when you go to the grocery store, what are 1 to 3 very easy things that you don't have to cook that you could have available for your lunch? That's the self-care they need. It's not always about like, what can I do to distract myself from binging or not restricting. It's really about seeing where that prohibition is of getting their needs met, and then working at it from this very attuned but a little bit more primitive place. When I say primitive, meaning like being like a child who needs a parent to reparent them. That's essentially what a lot of self-care really looks like. And it's not always the sheets. So if you're just joining live, thank you for coming. And please go back at the beginning to watch the beginning when I talk about general self-care and list and all that kind of good stuff. So anyway, this video was made based on some of the conversation we had in the group yesterday, which was really good. And I wanted to expand on it just so people understand the nuance that I was coming from, because most of the time, this is where I see people need help with, is this feeling like there's some entitlement in their system to getting their needs met. If they don't feel like they deserve it, or they don't feel like they can access it, even though they might have the time, the resources, the money, it's not really something they can't get. Then there's a level of like, there's a wall that says I can't have, or it's not for me, or I'm not good enough or worthy or whatever. And those are the things you're going to be working through. Honestly, so self-care is just accessible. So I hope this video was helpful. If you have any other questions about this topic, if you need any help going deeper with like your particular client, please message me. We can set up a consultation around that. I'm kind of just letting you all know that I'm going to be doing a live version of my Attuned Eating for Attuned Living program, and that's going to start in early April. So it's coming up fast. I was thinking like, I have plenty of time to talk about it, but actually, I'm probably going to be doing a video series about it, like what we work on from like the end of February, early March, and through April, so you all know exactly like this is what we're going to be doing if you're interested. But the reason I have 10 videos is because I want to really, articulate like why it is that we do what we do and the way that we do it, so our clients don't spend time just spinning on the surface of things. It's really important because I'll just show you one of the reasons why I'm so adamant about like getting us into deeper counseling decoding skills, because the longer I'm online, the more I see people who have done lots of programs, work with lots of different people, and read all the books and all the podcasts, and there's a lack of depth to their still. I mean, they've been doing this for years. They've been doing intuitive eating not that many less years. And I'm like, some people still are really stuck in certain phases. I'm like, why is that? What is that? And some people have had one-on-one work or group work with a facilitator, a dietitian, a coach, whatever, and some people haven't. But I see the same kind of stuff, and I'm like, what is going on? There's still all this prohibition around. I know this process takes lots of time. There's not really a finish line, but there's a level of like really easily getting discouraged and knocked off track. And I'm like, what's happening here? Because I think people still don't understand like the inner, how to go deeper with themselves. So that's what I want to teach you, how to teach your people, so that they're just more equipped. Because that's what I'm seeing is a lack of like deeper equipment to like have the capacity and the confidence to go deeper when they're feeling a little stuck, but they may or may not be working with you. So that's what I want to help you professionals have. So anyway, I'm not going to talk any more about that now because, again, we're done for the day. But I thank you all so much for hanging there with all my household noise, the dog barking and the coughing and the dryer going off. And that's another thing I should talk about this time, the fun of working from home. I don't get distracted very much by home stuff, but it happens occasionally. So anyway, thank you all so much for watching. If you felt like this was an important video, you grabbed some nuance from it or some depth from it, let me know about that. It would be helpful. And I would love to hear some topics or just some places you're feeling like you want to know more about. Know more about and have questions about, because that's what this group is for. So anyway, thank you all so much for coming. Share the group, with people that you think would be helpful as well. So, all right, I'll talk to you all soon, and be looking out. I'm trying to do 2 videos a week to not be overwhelming, because I could easily come on here every single day because I love teaching. But I've heard for some people that felt like a lot. So twice a week is what it is right now. If you feel like you want more, let me know. If that's adequate, let me know that too. So thanks so much, and I hope you all have a great day. Take care.